So hi, well, the Good Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with.
And I'm Kato from Eat Your Heart Out.
I'm going to ask her some questions today about their upcoming album, Can't Stay Forever. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Thank you. I'm stoked. I'm very excited. It's been a hot minute since we put any new music out. So the fact that anybody still cares and is still interested in music that we've made is awesome, and we're so grateful. So yeah, we're just excited.
Hell yeah. The album rocks.
Sure. Oh yeah. So good. I had to listen to it twice.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Kind of curious as to what was the whole delay. I know obviously there was a pandemic as well, but there were years before that as well.
Yeah. So basically, Fluorescence came out in mid 2019, and then we had plans of recording new music, probably not an album, but we planned on making an EP or at least a couple of singles sort of the start of 2020 or mid 2020. We were starting to think about heading into the studio. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the pandemic happened, and we just kind of, I don't know, we were still writing. So there were a few times where we were should we just go into the studio and make a single or something? But then every time we just kind of didn't lock anything in, and then we just kept writing. And then we got to the point where we were well, we just kind of have to make the new record now because it's been so long. So then we just went into that, and that recording for the record got pushed back twice,
Oh wow.
think, as well, by a couple months. So it all just kind of got delayed and delayed. So it wasn't ideal to have obviously almost a 3.5 year gap between records, but I don't know. I don't really know what we could have done differently. I suppose maybe if we were more prepared at the start of the pandemic, it would have been different, but I'm glad that the delays happened because it did give us more time to write and refine the record. So yeah, as much as it did feel bad to kind of drop off the radar, I don't regret it, I suppose, because I like how the album ended up.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
So the title is a lyric from one of the tracks on the album, the song Deep End, and it that song, and then just sort of the title itself is just about the idea that no situation or nothing is permanent, essentially. You might be comfortable in a situation or you might be uncomfortable in a situation, but at the end of the day, things are always going to shift and you're always going to move out of that situation. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I find myself thinking back to pre-pandemic and the way the band was, and even our dynamic as a band and our relationships, and sometimes I'd be oh, I wish we could go back to that, but then you're well, you can't, you know what I mean? You can't stay in one situation or one sort of feeling forever. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of have to make the best of what situation you're in. So it's kind of negative and positive, because it's nothing good lasts forever, mm-hmm. but nothing bad lasts forever either. Either way, it's always going to keep rolling forward. And yeah, so sorry, I feel that was a bit of a long-winded way to just basically say nothing is permanent, essentially.
No, but I appreciate
that was
it.
Great.
Yeah.
And the cover art.
Oh yes, and the cover art. So it was created by our bass player Dom and his partner Jackie. She's a graphic designer, so they did all the art together, which was really cool. And it's a person running towards an exit door, essentially. So it's just someone representing leaving a situation, going through the exit onto whatever's next. So yeah, they did a really cool job on the cover art, and I think that the like even just the colors and the aesthetic of it like represent the record really well. So yeah, it's very cool. I'm very happy with how that turned out.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this album?
Yeah, so this album, like as I said, we kind of started to write it in like 2020, and we really like I would say the official start of the writing process was like late 2020 when we were like, okay, like we're writing for the record now. So yeah, late 2020 we started writing, and because a lot of that time we're in lockdown as well, a lot of it wasn't done in person. It was done through, like, we had a shared folder where people would upload like instrumental ideas and stuff like that, and then I would sort of go through and listen to them and, you know, pick out the ones that I connected with and felt like I could write something with. And then yeah, we just kind of bounced the ideas back and forth, and then once we locked in our producer Jack, who we made the record with, we started doing like weekly pre-production Zooms with him because he was in a totally different city to us, so we couldn't do it in person. And we would get on and like, yeah, discuss the songs and like what we needed to change and what new parts we needed to write. And then yeah, it all sort of came together, and we ended up, like, once we got into the studio, there was like a song or two that we just didn't feel like were quite up to scratch with the rest of the songs, so we ended up scrapping them and writing 2 new songs in the studio, which was Sour and Deep End. They were both written in the studio time. So yeah, it was like sometimes it was difficult not being able to get together in person and really, like, you know, jam out the songs and stuff as much as we'd like to, but I think it was a really cool writing process, and we all just felt sort of the most confident in our writing that we ever had. So, which I mean, I feel like is reflected just because we were like, yeah, we can do this. We can make can make an album.
So,
but yeah.
Like, in terms of the writing process itself, like throughout the pandemic, did you guys do any like Zoom writing sessions, or was everything like just file sharing?
Between us band members, it was mostly file sharing, and then on the like odd chance where we could get together, we would sort of get in a room and, like, you know, jam out what we could. But with our producer Jack, a lot of that was done over Zoom. So yeah, primarily file sharing, but a little bit of Zoom just with Jack. But as a band, like, I don't think the Zoom would work. It would probably just have devolved into chaos and nothing would have got done, because it's hard enough to get us to work when we're all in a room together, let alone on a video chat.
Fair enough.
So what song off this album took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
I can't remember which one specifically took. Actually, no, I would say Deep End took the longest.
Okay.
So Deep End was an instrumental that Will had written like quite a while back, and it had just sort of been like kicking around for a while. And when we were in the studio, like Jack, our producer, and the guys were like, yeah, this instrumental is really cool. Like, we need to do something with this. And I'd been trying to write some stuff to it for ages, and it had all this different stuff. And I was always like, oh, it's just not it. You know, I can't get it right. And it was like, we were in our last week of recording, I think.
Oh, wow.
And I just couldn't, I was like, I still just can't get anything for this. And I was like, maybe this song just won't make it onto the record. Like, that's fine. But Jack, our producer, was like, no, this song is making it onto the record. Like, you know, he's like, I'm not leaving until this song is done, essentially. Like, I don't care how far over the studio time we go, like, we're getting this song done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that pressure of knowing that he wasn't going to relent, it something flipped, like a switch flipped or something, and I managed to get it done within like you know, a day or two.
Nice.
And then following on to that, it is actually one of my favorite songs on the album now. I know with the guys, like the other guys as well. Yeah, it's thank you. Everyone really likes that song, so I would say, yeah, either Deep End or I really like Scissors in My Skin as well. I think it's probably my other favorite.
Oh yeah.
That's a very good choice.
Yeah. So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, closer be the closer? Did you shuffle around, see what fits? What was that process like?
When we knew what the closer was going to be first, so Head First was in the first like 3 songs that we pretty much had finished for the record. So we did Head First, Scissors, and what was the other one? Having a total mind blank here. There was one other track that we sort of had like finished like late 2020. We were like, these are the first 3 songs for the record. And now I can't even think of what the other one was. But yeah,
song.
Yeah, the mystery third song. But yeah, so when we wrote Head First, we were like, this feels like the album closer. We're like, this has to be it. So we knew from the start that that was the closer for the record. And then when Forget Me was written, we were kind of like, yeah, this feels like it could be the opener. And we kind of just rolled with that. There were a few times where, you know, we'd be like, oh, maybe this, like some other song could open the record, but we just kept coming back to Forget Me. So we decided that it just felt right to leave it as the opener. And we wanted the album to kind of kick off on that heavier note. So we liked the way it kind of had that like 1-2 punch with like Forget Me and then Down, both like kind of starting off with like heavier side of the record. And then we kind of designed the track listing to, it kind of, I don't know, like it just flows in a way where, as I said, it starts heavier and then it kind of, you know, goes into Scissors, which starts to earn a bit of the poppier side, and then into some of the actual poppier tracks like 20 something and Hostage, and then kind of flows back to the end with the heavier stuff again. So yeah, it actually was pretty easy to put the track listing together for once. Like historically, that's been one of the biggest points of argument within our band is the track listing, because everyone usually has such radically different ideas on where the songs should go.
Yeah.
But this time we all agreed. So we were like, that must be a sign that it flows well, because we all seem to be on the same page of sort of where the songs should sit. So yeah, it was actually kind of ezy for once to design the track listing.
That's good.
Oh, for sure.
Are you sure you guys weren't just like glad the album was finally fucking done?
That could have been it. Everyone's like, oh, we made the record, like who cares about the rest? We just did it, you know. that could have been it. Everyone just kind of exhausted and kind of gave up a little bit on, but yeah, it was good. I feel like in the past, like especially finishing Fluorescence, like it was such a stressful recording process that by the end of it, everyone just kind of felt defeated almost, because it was so difficult. Like we made it quite hard for ourselves by not being well prepared. But this time, like when we finished the record, we felt like we felt invigorated. We felt like revitalized. We were like, we've made something that we're really proud of, and like we did it the way that we wanted to do it, and we feel really good about it. So yeah, it just felt sort of totally different to the last record, which we thought was hopefully a good sign that we were so happy with what we've created, and hopefully it connects with other people as well.
Hell yeah.
So would you be able to tell us where your headspace was at while you were creating this record?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was, obviously we were inside a lot, like because it was COVID, so there was a lot of like, I don't know, it was kind of weird, like being locked down but then having the album to work towards. I feel like actually kind of helped put me in a better headspace, because it felt like after a few years of being dormant as a band, like we were working towards something again. So I feel like, yeah, headspace was actually pretty positive. Obviously the lyrical themes are sometimes like darker or sort of more emotional ideas, but it's almost like once you get them out of your system, you feel better anyway. So I feel like overall, like it was actually pretty positive. But yeah, sorry, I feel like that wasn't a very good answer, but yeah, just kind of, it's weird too because it was written over such a long time, so there was definitely like ups and downs in just in the feelings, like because it wasn't all just written in one block. Like there's definitely times where like I guess we were feeling more hopeful, and then times where you're feeling a little bit more down, but then you kind of come up again. So yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Again, sorry, I feel like that wasn't a very good answer, but it was kind of all over the place, I suppose.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That's fair.
Always kind of prefer the like, oh, we were in like a positive headspace, because it's like so much of like the records that are coming out right now were obviously written during the pandemic. So there's a whole lot of like, I felt like shit during the writing process. So it's good that like you were feeling okay, at least somewhat.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I like as I said, I feel like because we'd kind of been quieter, like obviously we were doing stuff before COVID shut everything down, but because before we started writing the record, like we hadn't really done anything for like a year. It, as I said, we just felt good because we were actually working towards something, and we were like, yeah, like we're still a band, you know, we can do this, like we're doing something again, like it's not over. Whereas for a lot of bands, I suppose it would have been the opposite, where they were on such a high and then all of a sudden they were like stopped in their tracks and didn't really have anything to work towards. Whereas, yeah, we were the opposite, I guess. So it did feel good in that way that we were actually had something band related to work on, rather than just sitting at home, like lamenting all the things that we could have been doing instead.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Ooh, I would say either headphones or in the car. I feel like it's a good car record. That's where I usually listen to it if I'm like listening back to it, is on a drive. I guess you could listen with friends as well. I guess it kind of works, but I feel like it's also kind of emo enough that you could just lay in your bed and listen to it with headphones yourself and get a little bit emo. But yeah, you could work out to it. I don't know. It might be a bit of an interesting workout, but you could try.
Fair enough.
So,
fair enough.
Yeah, I would say either on your bed with headphones or in the car.
Okay. Perfect. So this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Okay. This should be easy, but I would say energetic. Emo, and the last word, it's the hardest one. And I'm just going to say rock. I know that some people might contest that, because I know some people would say maybe it's more poppy, but I think it's a rock record.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Good answers. So picture this: you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
I would usually go for like a bag of mixed nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, massive fan of like, you know, cashews and almonds and walnuts. So usually, yeah, that would be me. And probably a sugar-free Red Bull.
Okay.
There you go. What flavor of Red Bull? Because apparently there are flavors of Red Bull now. I just learned this.
There are, yeah. Well, in Australia, in the sugar-free ones, because I just prefer the sugar-free, we only really have just the regular sugar-free. Oh. But when we were in the UK recently, they had a whole variety of sugar-free flavored ones. So I was in heaven. Yeah. I bought like one of every flavor. Good. I was stocked up. So I would say there's like an acai flavored one, which sounds stupid, but yeah, acai flavored Red Bull is surprisingly good. I would recommend it.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So actually, on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Oh, this is a good question.
Thank you.
I feel like it would be some kind of weird mixed, like a mixed hot pot kind of thing where there's all different kinds of things in there. Like you'd have some bit that's real spicy, and then some bit that's kind of sweet, and then some bit that's sour. So yeah, let's go some sort of noodle dish that has all these different flavors mixed in: sweet, sour, and spicy.
All right. I like
that sounds
that.
very good.
Yeah. So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
I would probably go for it's kind of, I mean, I guess it's allowed to be oddly specific. There's a vegan diner in our city called Grease's, and they do this. It's like a poutine, but it's mac and cheese on top. With so it's like mac and cheese on top of a pile of chips or fries, and then gravy on top as well. So I would go with that, and then the drink. I mean, I'm gonna die anyway, so I'd probably go like a double gin and soda.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
all right.
May as well have a drink right before I die.
Exactly. Why not? Why not? So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Definitely Harry Potter. Like, I want to be at Hogwarts. I want to be a student in Hogwarts. Absolutely. Be a witch. That's it. Definitely.
That'd be very cool. What house are you?
Apparently I'm a Slytherin, which I don't know how I feel about that, but also that's probably correct.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a Slytherin, because like their main thing is like they're just like driven, like super driven. I'm pretty sure like that's the main like personality trait. So like that's a really good thing.
That's true. I think, yeah, like Malfoy just gave the Slytherins a really bad name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I'd be a Slytherin. I mean, I kind of look like I could be a female Malfoy anyway with this hair color, so I'd probably fit right in.
Yeah,
in the Slytherin house.
That'd be so cool. Yeah.
All right. So I had the honor of asking the last question, and every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color?
Mm-hmm.
Like a light lilac purple. I'm trying to think if I have an example here to show you, but like a baby. Here, there's like a baby purple, like the color of this
nice.
chain. Yeah, that's my favorite color, hands down. We'll always go for that color.
Nice.
That's a beautiful color.
Yeah. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Well, I mean, as we said, we have a new record coming out on September 9th. It's called Can't Stay Forever. We're very, very proud of it, very excited for it to be out in the world, so go give it a stream, give it a listen, and hopefully we'll see you out at a show somewhere in the world soon.
Hell yeah. All right, well, thank you for now. This has been Caitlin from Eat Your Heart Out, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.